You're about to roast me. You guys are really about to roast me for this step.
It's what she deserves.
Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are well. Now today is a very monumental... Monumentous? Is monumental a word? Great importance. Yeah, okay. Whew!
Thank fuck.
Today is a very monumental occasion because we're doing my first ever unhaul. Okay, I wouldn't call it a problem, but I do find it very difficult to let go of stuff. I have a problem letting go of books. So this is very hard for me to do. However, there's just some books that I wanted to get rid of for like moral reasons or just authors I don't align myself with anymore. And then I thought to myself, okay, Megan, you could get rid of 10. Like, get rid of at least 10, maybe more. Let's see what you can do. And I managed to pick 10. And that was hard.
Oh, well, poor you! Oh, my heart bleeds for you, it really does!
But I do need more shelf space and stuff like that, so it does make sense. But I mean, there's still books here that I should be getting rid of. Like, the whole Hush Hush series, I should not be holding on to this, and yet there's still something in me there's like, you may need this one day. I don't know why. Like, I read the first one a couple months back and hated it. Like, why would I ever need the rest of this series ever again when I know it's pure shit, but like, I just can't let go of it. But these 10, at least, I've managed to let go of. So the majority of these books are books that I read when I was about 12 or 13. So it's about 7 or 8 years ago. So it's taken me that long to feel okay with getting rid of them. But the first two are by the same author. And it's just an author I really did not want to own anymore. And that is Eleanor and Park and Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I don't agree with a lot of what Rainbow Rowell has done.
Get her, Jade.
In this, Park, the main character, is Asian, and the way that he is described and the way that things in his life are described are racist, you know? Like, we shouldn't call it anything else. There are racist elements to this book, and when I was like 12 or 13 reading it, I didn't pick up on it as much as I probably should have done. I just don't really have any interest in owning any of Rainbow Rowell's books anymore. I did not love either of these. I think I preferred Fangirl out of the two from what I can remember. I think it is very important that when marginalised communities are raising their voice about an issue in a book or with an author, we listen to them, and the industry listens to them also. You know, Eleanor and Park is being made into a film, when like there's 1,000 other less problematic YA books you could make into films. I just don't get it. When I did the Midnight Sun reading vlog, I spoke about a particular passage in which the vampires are all described as looking alike because they're corpse pale. And I brought up how probably what Stephanie Meyer is saying there is that the vampires look like whatever skin tone you are, but a dead version of that in terms of their colouring. But with Stephanie Meyer's history, I thought it was a strange thing to include. And someone commented saying, I don't know what the accusations are, but she does mean that it means they just look dead in their colouring, so calm down. And my response to that would be, do make yourself aware of what the accusations are. Catherine Hardwicke, the director for the first film, which in my opinion is a travesty that she did not direct them all, she has spoken about how she really wanted to push Stephanie Meyer to have a really diverse cast, particularly for the Cullens. She wanted Alice to be Japanese, but Stephanie Meyer was like, I wrote that all vampires have pale glistening skin, so in her eyes all vampires are white, or at least the Cullens are. And Catherine Hardwicke really had to push for the actor who played Laurent to play him, for a black actor to play Laurent. And so my point was, having been accused of wanting all the vampires to be white, to then double down on that in Midnight Sun made me feel a bit iffy. So when marginalised voices are raising issues with authors in the way that they do with Stephanie Meyer or with Rainbow Rowell, I think we should make sure that they are listened to. Don't bury your head in the sand, and do make yourself aware of the complaints towards authors. So that was a bit of a tangent, I'm sorry, but Rainbow Rowell's books, I have no interest in keeping any longer.
Bye, bitch.
Next is a book I barely remember anything about, but it is Every Day by David Levithan. I think I only bought this because he co-wrote Will Grayson with John Green, which I actually really loved. I think it was my favourite John Green book. But when I read this, I remember just feeling super, like... I remember just being like, what the fuck is this?
A flap. It was a flap like I've never seen a flap.
I just found it so boring. It was such a boring book. I don't vibe with it. It was one of the most meh books I've ever read when I was younger. I didn't have as strong opinions on books when I was younger. This is about a boy who like wakes up in a different body every day, but then he falls in love with the girlfriend of one of the guy's bodies he wakes up in, I think. It was just not good. It was not good. And then the last YA book I'm going to be unhauling is It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. So this is about a boy who has to go to a men's hospital because he gets checked in for, I think, he nearly kills himself. And it's about the people he meets at the men's hospital and the kind of journey that they go on together. I do remember really enjoying this actually when I did read it. However, I think it's the kind of book I've probably outgrown, and there are complaints which I can definitely see now of how this book can glorify mental illness. I do remember when I read this at the time, I didn't feel like the book did that. I feel like the film that is adapted from this book really did that. It's a film with Emma Roberts. I don't know who plays the protagonist, but I remember just hating the film because I feel like it really glorified mental illness. When I read it, I didn't pick up on that, but I don't know how I'd feel if I read it today. It's the kind of book I just look at on my shelves and think, I wish you weren't there. It just doesn't bring me joy, you know? I'm trying to Marie Kondo it.
I'm so excited because I love this.
And I just think it's the kind of book I can easily let go and someone else out there will probably enjoy more than me. Okay, next we're going on to adult books. And...
You guys go drag me for this, huh? Okay.
I have Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I never even bought this book. I got it for free at the Penguin store at Summer in the City the last year that I went. Like, this was years ago, like 2016 maybe, 2015. No, I feel like it was probably 2015 was the last year I went. I don't know, one of those. This book, I ain't vibe with it anymore. I'm trying to listen to, particularly in this case, the disabled community on how shitty this representation is. If you don't know, it's about a millionaire who, I think he gets into a motorcycle accident and can't walk afterwards. The way that this book progresses, I don't think is very healthy for disabled representation. And again, I just felt meh about this book when I read it. I did not like it that much. It was probably like a 3-star. It would be even lower by my standards today.
In the words of the king of pop, Michael Jackson, she's out of my life.
And so I just have no qualms letting this go. And this is the kind of book I know that when I take it to the charity shop, it will be ate straight up. This is the kind of book that people in the charity shop love to eat up straight away.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
Check out
They've
the
blessed me.
labels.
Similarly, another one which would be ate straight up is Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. I do have Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, which is a like non-fiction book about creativity, which I do kind of want to reread. I read that years and years ago when I was like 14, 15 and loved it. And I think it could be really helpful for me now, like in the space that I'm in, actually consistently creating stuff. But Eat, Pray, Love just does nothing for me. This is about a woman who I think is just going through a really bitter divorce and so decides to travel the world. I think she goes to 3 locations. She goes Rome, India and Bali. Yeah, I think it is a memoir. I think the author actually went and travelled. It was a nice read. Like, I feel like Eat, Pray, Love is a book that almost every woman, especially because it's like shoved down our throats, will read in their lifetime. I have no qualms about letting it go. I'm trying to let go of books that I'm never going to speak about on my channel again, because like, if something like Red, White and Royal Blue, for instance, over there, you can't see it, but I'm pointing over there.
The level of unprofessionalism, far too much.
I didn't like that book, right? I gave it 2 stars, but I'm probably going to consistently speak about it on my channel for years to come, so I want to hold on to it. But this, I barely remember what happens in it. It was so average. You know, a lot of these books weren't books I hated just because I didn't really hate books, apart from probably Every Day. That one I remember being really pissed off by. But back at that age, I didn't really tend to hate books. I'm just never going to speak about this again. I'm never going to want to read it again, so it's time to let it go. And then the final adult book that I'm going to be unhauling is Cutting for Stone by Abraham Verghese?
I've looked, guys. I've looked.
Just spent time on going loads of YouTube videos this guy is on, trying to find out how to pronounce his last name. I'm really bad at pronunciation, so you don't know how many times I have to go and look up how authors' names are pronounced, but for the life of me, I cannot find this. It's a very long book that spans a long time.
Okay.
And And I think it goes from hospitals in Ethiopia to India to Yemen to the Bronx. This was a book I read for when my mum used to run a book club, like with her friends. I just remember I think I was a bit too young to like fully appreciate this book. The author's profession predominantly is a physician, so it's an area that he is very knowledgeable in. I remember like the medical nature of this book being really intense and really dense, and I remember I just kind of by the end of the book was just skimming over the book and not really absorbing it. So it's just a book I think I was too young when I consumed it, and if I read it now or even in 5 years time, I think my enjoyment of it would be so much higher. Even when I read it, I recognised it was a really great book. However, I just know it's a book I'm never going to come back to just because I don't feel the urge, so I might as well just let it go. And finally we have my non-fiction books. Now, you're about to roast me. You guys are really about to roast me for this book.
It's what she deserves.
For the longest, when I used to film here, this book used to be here, and you can see like an ass. And I used to always edit and go, why the fuck did I not move that book? But it is Strong Looks Better Naked by Khloe Kardashian. There's the butt if you wanted to see her butt. I used to be obsessed with the Kardashians. I ain't gonna lie. I loved Khloe Kardashian, and I went on like a bit of a fitness craze when I was about 14, lost loads of weight, and I think like Khloe Kardashian was very known for fitness then. She was trying to get herself known as like the fitness sister, like because she lost a lot of weight, and so this is just her book about how she did it. This was just a moment in my life that I don't need to come back to, but I think a lot of girls kind of look up to them when they're 14, especially when I was 14, because they hadn't really fully become the monster that they are today. I mean the Kardashian brand, because like Kylie was still dyeing her hair blue and didn't have like lip fillers and stuff. Like that's the era we're talking about here, you know? And so I don't blame younger me for reading this and like loving it. However, it's just not something I need to look at on my shelves anymore, so she's going. Next is the book that I read most recently out of all these. It's the only one I read since I've started my booktube channel, and it is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So I used to love reading spiritual self-help books, and it's just not something I really read anymore. I remember hearing a lot of great things about this one, and I wanted to try it out for myself. However, when I did read it, I predominantly read the audiobook. I listened to the audiobook. I didn't feel like it spoke to me in any way. I don't think this is going to be something I'm going to be coming back to.
Girl, bye.
And then the last book I'm going to be unhauling is kind of like similar reasons to the Khloe Kardashian one, I guess, and that is #Girlbox by Sophia Amoruso. So she is the founder of the website Nasty Gal. I don't think she really has any affiliation with it anymore, but I loved Nasty Gal when I was like 13. I've never bought a single thing from there, but now Nasty Gal is very much like Boohoo, Pretty Little Thing. Like it's been bought up by one of them, and so it's very much like them. However, I loved Nasty Gal in the days that they had loads of vintage on their website for like hundreds of pounds, and I would always go on there and like look at all their vintage stuff. It was a very different kind of website than it is now. However, I believe this gal isn't the best girl boss in the world. I think there's been a lot of kind of like iffy stuff in how she ran Nasty Gal, and I just don't really want to hold on to this. It wasn't very enlightening, I don't remember. I just don't buy into this kind of philosophy anymore, and it's not something I feel like I need in my life. So that is all of the books I am unhauling. Let me know if you've read any of these and if you'd be unhauling them. Also, it's hard. Like, it's hard for me to let go of these books. It does feel wrong. However, a lot of them, I know I'm just never gonna read them again. I don't need them in my life, but it still goes against my instincts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon in another one. Bye!